ultimately the goal of CarSavvy was to help people with car ownership.
The difference between someone who does cents per kilometre and someone who does Logbook, who drives a lot and has a lot of expenses, is on average, I reckon, about $5,000 of tax.
No need to worry, my accountant handles that.
Welcome back to another episode of the Lat Chat. Today we're joined by the team behind CarSavvy, an all-in-one car management app built to remove the chaos of car ownership and give drivers control again. So welcome, Lachlan and Ashlinn. How you going?
Good, how are you?
Yeah, good. I'm really excited to have you guys in. Ever since we met, I thought, well, this is an exciting new thing you guys are doing. And, you know, what's the idea or what's the motivation behind like two young people coming together, starting an app like this and getting something like, about cars off the ground? So I've been intrigued in this, with the story, and I thought, what better thing to do than bring you guys in, have a chat about, what you're doing, why you're doing it, and let our viewers and people watching, people associated with us, get to see exactly what you guys are doing in this space. So we want to start with a bit about you, Lachlan.
Sure.
So you've started your career as an electrician before moving into tech and co-funding this SaaS business. So can you talk me a little bit through your journey and what made you make that jump?
I worked out I was a terrible employee, so I had to kind of do something on my own. I started out as an electrician, and I was a guy called Dave. I was his first hire, so he was a one-man band, and he hired me as a first-year apprentice, and we were doing very like bog stock electrical, like crawling through ceilings on the floors, changing ovens, just like very box stock electrical stuff. And then I've always kind of been quite technical, bit of a nerdy kid. And I guess over a 6-year period, we kind of got more into smart home automation, got access to some sort of luxury builds throughout Sydney. And, I guess long story short, we kind of turned the company into about 13 people. We did about 70% smart home systems installations. And then, the 30% electrical work at the time as well. So very different to sort of how the company initially started to then being more of a smart home company. So that's kind of, how I got started in that electrical space.
And when was that?
When?
Yeah, like what time frames was this?
I graduated high school in 2014. And then literally, I think December of 2014, was, just finished HSE and then was rocking up to site, doing some trials and whatnot. So, and then, was there at that company, and we actually ended up splitting the business together. But I think I was there for 6 or 7 years. So,
yeah. Okay. Awesome. So what was the thing that made you make that change?
Out of electrical?
Yeah, out of electrical.
I think, I sort of looked at the pathway going forward, and, I'm a very technical person, and I think I like that pursuit of figuring things out. And I think for me, it was the roadmap going forward was, okay, it's not so much about figuring, the technical side out. It's more about just sort of grinding away and scaling up the business. And I realized I was quite young still, and I thought at the time I want to keep going on that technical pursuit. So it was actually middle of COVID, decided to sort of hang up the boots and walk away. So
crazy, man. It would have taken a lot of guts to do something like that.
Yeah, I got told I was crazy a little bit, but
I still think you're crazy.
Yeah. It is crazy.
Yeah.
Who was telling you were crazy? Parents?
Yes. My old man's from construction background, so he runs a building company, sort of high-end residential. And so that's kind of, I've always grown up around construction. So when we kind of sat down and had that conversation one night, and I kind of explained my reasoning, and a lot of it was around, that technical aspect, but also realizing I love putting a lot of energy into the one thing and making that thing better and better each time. And I realized if I can somehow do that with a product that can actually scale, as opposed to trying to do that with essentially a service-based company. It's really hard to scale. A service-based business. So.
I would say that too, but like you just in the story, you were saying that the electrical company did scale pretty well, though. You started one-man band, and by the time you left, it was 13 people.
Yeah.
Did you learn anything from that experience that's, helped you, in business since then?
Very different. I mean, super different service based versus, sort of product based. But I mean, people are still the same. So, I think the main thing I learned from that was just always trying to be a leader, have a bit of a vision. I'm probably not the best at sometimes with certain things, but I think if you can have a clear and consistent vision for the company, then, your people get excited, people follow you. And I think that's the biggest thing I learned in that experience.
That's perfect. You said vision. It's a phrase I want to talk about a bit more, but we'll get to it. Before we delve into that, Ashlinn, tell us about yourself.
Yeah, so I, out of school, did the standard thing. I went to uni, started studying psychology because I always loved people and good with people. Realised I don't want to be someone who deals with everyone's problems all day. So I pivoted and started doing media and comms. Finished that degree and then got a job straight out of uni in marketing, but found that I was always looking for something a little bit more. I get very bored with the 9 to 5 and just that mundane, repetitive tasks. So kind of started looking at the startup world. And one of my best friends at the time started a beauty tech company. And I was like, let me help you. Let me dive in. Let me do your social media marketing. Let me help you get some growth behind this. They had nothing but the idea. And I was like, I can do the people side of things. I can get you a community and get you a following. Dived into that for about a year and then ended up meeting Lachlan, and he's so tech savvy and, obsessed with the product, but had that same issue of like, he's not the people person side of things.
I'm pretty good.
Great with people, but doesn't know how to translate that to people as well. So he was just talking about it a lot, and I was like, I think there could be a bit of an alignment here. We both have very complementary skills. So then I joined the team. So you guys got involved, and now you guys are the power team that are building CarSavvy, the app, and we see that going great. We'll get deeper into the CarSavvy story, but before we do, I want to do a little segment here which is called Agree or Disagree. So you got your paddles. I'm going to just throw out some comments which you may agree or disagree to. Just hold that up to the camera, and then we'll have a bit of a chat. So first, agree or disagree. Mm-hmm. Standard logbook methods are outdated. Hard agree there. Hard agree.
What do you think, Lachlan?
It's pretty strict. I feel like certain things could be laxed a little bit. I kind of agree that they need to be laxed a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, it's like everyone's forging it these days everywhere. Like everyone I talk to is like, yeah, I just dodgy up my papers and I do X, Y, Z, or I just claim the 5K because I'm not bothered to do the logbook. So I'm like, obviously there's an issue. Like
there is an issue, yeah. I will look, as you know, we're accountants, so we see a lot of things. So from my perspective, I think the system is outdated. Like sitting there writing down in a manual logbook after every trip where you've gone, why you've gone there, start of the trip, and, how many kilometers. We're used to automation. So the idea that you have to manually track that is almost impossible. So what we see a lot of the time is people trying to go back retrospectively and make a logbook for that 12-week period, and what they're doing is looking at where they filled up petrol, where they went to the shops on their bank statements, looking at their toll records, and they're trying to recreate something. And obviously when you do that, it's not going to be accurate. It's not going to be right.
It's a waste of time. Your time, their time. Yeah.
So I agree 100% it's outdated, which I imagine your app would have something to do with helping in.
Absolutely.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, the whole point of one of the main features of our app is to automate that whole process for people. So that's where we come in clutch for a lot of people. So yeah.
Cut out the boring paperwork. All right. Let's jump into number 2. I prefer everything digitized rather than paper-based. I'm going to go agree.
I think I am going to go agree as well.
Yeah.
Agree for you.
I don't know any paperwork that I have left at all.
Well, when we say paperwork, are we meaning, just like all things official?
Yeah, I mean like receipts, invoices, logbooks, all sorts of records.
Yep.
I mean, I'm over that stuff. Like when I started in accounting, people would come in with a shoebox full of receipts, and I've seen the progression of bookkeeping software. So, MyOb came in, Xero now is taken over really, and people that can what you can do with the tech now, scan everything in, keep it there centralized. I mean, it makes our job 100 times easier.
Yeah.
The worst job in the office as an accounting junior was being that kid that everyone would just bring the receipts to, paperwork, and you sit at the scanner all day scanning receipts and printing things. So
Yeah.
I am 100% for Digitised, but my disclaimer on Digitised is my new hobby, which is I collect NRL cards. So
Do you have a book, like a little folder?
yeah, my wife would be happy if I had like one little folder. I've got a garage.
One little button, no, okay.
Yeah,
An entire bookshelf of-
yeah, more like a shelf, more like
yeah.
an entire bookshelf. But there's some things that you just need to feel and touch. I don't think a logbook or your tax receipts are one of those things. So yeah. All right, let's move on to the next one. Most people do not realize how much money a logbook can save them.
Strong agree.
Agree.
How come? Tell us about that, Ashlinn.
Well, like I said before, they're just claiming the 5K because they're not bothered to keep logbook records, but they could be saving an extra 3,000 or more if they actually track things properly. Like if you're on the road every single day, you are racking up kilometers. So
Yeah, I think especially when I was a tradie, those first few years as an apprentice, you don't actually realize how much you use your car. Especially if you're sort of doing more service-based work and you're going from job to job throughout the day, and as electricians and trades, you're carrying a lot of tools, a lot of equipment, a lot of wear on the vehicle as well. So maintenance costs are up, fuel's more expensive because you're traveling with heavier loads. Like everything just increases. And I look back on that time and I was like, man, I missed out on thousands of dollars of deductions.
Big time. Well, we know that there's two ways you can claim a tax deduction with your motor vehicle expenses. Number one, cents per kilometre method. You mentioned that, Ashlinn. You can claim up to 5,000 kilometres based on a set rate. But if you're someone that uses your car a lot or has a lot of expenses, like a tradie, you're going to be leaving a lot of tax money on the table. The second method, the logbook method, requires you to keep a logbook.
Yep.
And, you could do that in a written sense. You can do it in Excel, or you can use an app to do that. And I think using an app to do it, tracking your 12 weeks and then finding out your business or work-related percentage for your expenses then allows you to claim a higher percentage of all those costs. And the difference between someone who does cents per kilometre and someone who does logbook, who drives a lot and has a lot of expenses, is on average, I reckon, about $5,000 of tax. Yeah. And,
it's a nice little holiday each year.
It's a nice, like if you're leaving $5,000 tax on the table, then you're stuffing up. So keep the logbook 100%, and it's definitely going to save you shitloads of cash. All right, next, agree or disagree. AI will fundamentally change every industry. I'm going to disagree.
I'm half-half.
Half-half.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. Why half-half, Lachlan?
I mean, I think... depends how much emphasis you want to put on the word change, right? I think definitely there are some industries that are just being massively impacted, but for a lot of industries, I think they're just being enhanced. We're not yet seeing that massive sort of shift that we were all talking about maybe 2 years ago. It's kind of being pushed out a little bit longer and longer, and I just think people are just getting more efficient, really. It's not so much a massive change, it's just, efficiencies.
Yeah. Ashlinn, you said agree.
I said agree because I think if you're not using AI now, you're going to get left behind. And I think there is a few generations of people who probably don't keep up to date with it, and they're going to fall behind. So I think you've got to be using it, getting really good at it.
Yeah.
That's how you're going to perfect your craft. I think it's a huge part of everything everyone does now,
no
matter what your job is.
Yeah, big time. I think what happens is generally with automation, you see it in all sorts of industries. It's like the automations come in, like the machines came in, right? Say in clothing production. So everything becomes efficient, streamlined. It kills all the like bespoke tailors and whatever in the space. And then that takes over. So like it's say 95% of production becomes automated. But then what pops up is these niche industries like where it's artistic and creative, and then like we sort of go back and like the bespoke comes back in, and then they charge a premium, and then there's the human touch, and nothing's automated, nothing's tech. So you end up with you could call it like little pockets of like creativity and human interaction, but then vast majority of production will be AI based, automated, and and you don't kill off the human side of things completely, but it becomes like a premium thing. It becomes like a luxury to have a human serving you or doing something for you in any space.
Yeah, I was literally talking about this on the ride over, actually, just about like handmade goods and things like that, because I love to make my own things.
Tell us about your. I've seen you on social. Yeah, you've got a hobby. Tell us about what is it? Crochet.
Crochet.
Yeah, tell me about crochet.
I broke my leg 2 years ago, and I was bored out of my mind. I needed something to do, and I just fell in love with it. So I was like, I think I was crocheting like 8 hours a day or something ridiculous. So I got really good really quickly, and then just ended up turning that into a little side business as well, where I could just make things and sell them for, a premium. Like, people
wow.
will pay.
Give us an idea. All right, so you crochet something. How much does it cost you to make an item in dollar for materials and supplies, and then time?
Depends on the materials I'm using, but a nice ball of yarn, premium merino wool, would be about $15. Nothing too crazy, but then it's the labor cost. So my time is what is actually costing.
How long does it take to put together an average garment?
Well, I'm working on a dress at the moment, and that's going to take me over a month.
Oh, wow.
So like a long time, but hopefully I can charge it, pretty penny for it.
What could you charge for it?
Well, I made shorts and a top last year, and I sold that for about $350.
Oh, okay.
So, and that took me 2 weeks to make.
2 weeks. But what's 2 weeks mean? Is it like an hour a day?
2 hours a day.
2 hours a day.
Because there's a lot of detail that goes into it on top of things as well. So it's not the most scalable business.
So you're talking about 30 hours, $15 of yarn, but you're selling the garment at $350. This is the problem you have with like why basically human labor becomes devalued with automation. It's because you're competing with machines that create products in 5 minutes.
Absolutely.
And you're taking 30 hours to make something, and then you got to find a buyer that sees the value in that.
Exactly. But look, I will say there are a lot of people in the industry who are selling things for thousands and thousands of dollars, and the better you get at your craft, the quicker you'll get as well. So
but it's fun too, right?
It's
like
fun.
you do it.
It's my hobby.
Yeah.
Like, to get paid to do your hobby is like not bad.
That's the thing, right? Because you could do a hobby where you're spending money.
Yeah.
Or you could do a hobby where you're making money, and definitely you're on the smarter side of that equation. Yeah,
always thinking business strategy. How can I make money from this?
Is there one room in the house that you're specifically doing this? I'm just thinking tax deduction.
I have 2 rooms in the house.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, well, we could probably apportion some of that floor space and pay some home office expenses.
Good.
Yeah, good.
I like it.
Yeah, very good. All right, so CarSavvy, you said there's a vision. What is the vision for CarSavvy?
I think big picture vision is every vehicle globally to have a digital fingerprint on the CarSavvy ecosystem. I think what we wanted to do was try and, ultimately the goal of CarSavvy was to help people with car ownership, whether that be through the tax side of things or, maybe you don't use your car for work, but, you're still having to service the thing, know what the running costs are, insurances, registrations, inspections, all those sorts of things we actually currently do tap into and have features for. But I think actually going further into those things where we can actually help you pick and save money on insurances.
Yeah.
Knowing more around the servicing. Servicing is really complicated for people. And so actually knowing when to service the car, what the history of the servicing has been, and the costs of things as well, and that's where we start to bring in some of those AI elements to help that.
Yeah. So if I was like to just bullet point, like rapid fire, some of the features like that you've got in this app, what does the app do?
So I guess we could break it down into 2 categories. One is professional features. So that's when we start to talk about the trip tracking aspects. So we have a feature called drive detection where you can turn that on, and then CarSavvy will automatically track all your trips when it detects you're in your vehicle. It'll track the start location, time, date, the route that you've taken, and obviously the end final destination. And then that kind of has it there ready for you to categorize as business or personal, put a note onto it what the trip reason was for, as well as add those trips in manually if you want. So there's those sides, and then actually also all the expense tracking. So key important thing for Logbook method is actually tracking what the expenditure was of the vehicle, the running costs. So throughout each year we help with an AI assistant as well that you just take a photo of the receipt, the maintenance record, the insurance papers, and it's not just like an OCR text recognition. It's actually an AI that understands the document.
That's
so
cool.
it's really cool on the maintenance side. So I realize I'm blurring a little bit the two sides, but so that's, I guess you would say, the professional features, and then the other side is just the everyday ownership. So that's where the servicing side, the insurance tracking, registration, knowing when your registration is due, and your insurance for that matter. And also the fuel finder, which maybe Ash you can touch on.
Look, we are.
It sounds a bit. It sounds a bit like MyFitnessPal for your car type thing. Yeah. Yeah. So what about the other side? Yeah.
My top features that I think most people are coming to us for is automatic drive detection, AI quick capture, and then the fuel finder as well, because these are people who are on the road constantly. So
you pointed that better than I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the marketing coming out.
Yeah.
Well, tell me about those features.
Yeah, so for those who are claiming the logbook method, they're using their car all the time. We are literally their best friend. Like, we'll categorize all their trips for them as well. They can set up a personal and work schedule, so you don't even have to categorize your trips. We'll do it all for you. Fuel receipts captured with AI and put into a little spreadsheet for you. You literally just send it off to John when it's tax time, and it's done. No messing around. And then that fuel finder as well was just an extra over that we added because we were talking to all of our users and we're like, what would make this even better for you?
Yeah.
And yeah, I think you're familiar with like petrol spy and stuff, but it's like, don't come for me, but it's a little bit jinky and it's not the smoothest. And
they smash you with ads.
Yeah.
Like all those
It's
fuel
so
finder
many
apps
ads.
just
Yeah.
right.
littered with ads. And
You're-
you got to watch
We'll
a
never
5-second
have
ad before
ads.
you can check the fuel price. Like,
Yeah.
come on.
And what sort of like payment method are you guys under? Is it like a recurring monthly fee?
So
Yeah.
you can pay monthly or annually.
Okay.
That
Nice.
unlocks the trip tracking side, but all the general car management features, including the fuel finder, is totally free.
All right. So I want to rewind a little bit. A lot of people have great business ideas but never act on them. So going back to looking at your whole journey, Lachlan, what is the biggest reality check once you move from idea to execution?
Following through. I think a lot of people have a lot of great ideas and they get started on them. And then I know for me personally, it's, something I worked out is just you kind of lose interest a little bit. So, you've kind of got to get to know yourself a little bit and go, okay, well, what keeps me going? What actually gets me up each day? And just trying to reverse engineer, what it is that's going to make sure that I'm successful and no matter what I do. And sort of having that realization of, I tend to sometimes lose interest in things really quickly. So how can you make it so, you hack that and that doesn't happen with something, that you're investing a lot of time and money into like CarSavvy or other ventures. And I just think it's making sure you've got challenges set up each time and sort of always make it, even if it's not, say, technical from a software perspective and you start to get into more financial business model aspects, it's how can you look at that as challenging and something to overcome. And that's how personally I kind of hacked myself into making sure that I'm doubling down and following through.
So what year did you start?
CarSavvy?
Yeah.
I think maybe 3 years ago, but we didn't actually launch the app until when did we launch the app? Start of last year? Yeah. Start of last year in January, February.
So we started around 23 and then launched around 25?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
There might probably maybe a little bit earlier was the concept, and then it was kind of just floating on that idea, and we kind of put together an advisory board of 6 or 7 people.
Yes.
And they were all really key people, in the industry, automotive, tech and whatnot. And they were really great to sort of seek inspiration from and get some ideas and whatnot. But then, the hard work kind of started a little bit later on once we kind of worked out, okay, what do we actually want to do in this space?
Okay. And what's like people could be listening. Excuse me. People could be listening saying, what's involved in, if you've got an idea, getting an app off the ground? Can you talk me through that process?
I mean, it's changing so much now with AI. You've got these low-code platforms, which are great. Now you've got this thing called vibe coding. I don't know if you've heard of vibe coding. But these AI models are getting so good that, the idea of vibe coding is that you can, you're prompting it to say, hey, I want to build this app and, it's spitting out code for you. And you still need to be somewhat technical. And And I think we went down the path of a low code platform. And what you realize is you kind of run into a wall pretty quickly. So they're great for a MVP or like an initial prototype to sort of, you don't spend too much money in it. But, we were pretty serious and we knew we wanted this thing to be pretty feature rich, and we had some technical challenges that these low code platforms just can't do. So we moved pretty quickly into a platform called Flutter, which is a cross-platform system which allows you to develop one code base, and that can launch into the Android App Store or the iOS App Store, but you're sort of managing the one code, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So are you the guy that's actually behind the scenes working on the tech?
Yeah, so I can code, and so I'll write a lot of the algorithms for kind of more the advanced stuff for how all the AI works and how we're doing our quick capture features and doing all that. But I then usually hand that code off to our engineer, and then I kind of just say, hey, this is how it's going to work. Let's make that happen in the app and do that side of things. So
okay, so you have an idea. You can code. You've got a tech side. So for you, it's sort of like just roll up the sleeves and get into it.
Yeah.
But you've got engineers, you've got experts you defer to and say, okay, we'll build this out.
Yep.
In a more thorough way, right?
Yeah.
But then what about like the creative side? Do you have to draw out the look of the app, the feel, those types of things? How do you do that?
Yeah. So I guess I'll backtrack to your original question: is how do you get started?
Yeah.
And I think the first thing you got to start with the design. That's what are you actually doing, obviously, and creating black and white wireframes on, okay, what screens am I going to have? Your home page, for us, the garage page, what's the trip interaction going to look like? And just building out a low fidelity, almost on a whiteboard if you want, and then move that into some sort of design studio. And then you go into a higher fidelity design where it's actually putting in, okay, what's this thing really going to look like?
So does this happen before coding?
Yeah.
This is what I find interesting, because I've seen a few apps being developed, and when people show me their ideas, like I had a friend showing me yesterday something they're working on. It's like they're showing me basically these pictures and they're all lined up, and they're like, this is what it looks like on the phone, and it's like it looks like a creative, like an artistic project before it's a tech project.
Yeah,
I didn't know that about like building apps, right? It's like you got to get the look right, because the way my mind works, like I think you'd build from the bottom. It's like you'd build like code, or you'd build like the technical side and then like just put the face on it. Doesn't necessarily work like that.
No, I mean, you have someone called a product designer where they're essentially, their job is to build out the look and feel and what the thing does.
Are these guys like graphic designers?
Yeah,
essentially graphic designers. No tech skill really, or it's not necessary, right?
No, I mean, a lot of the UI UX designers, product designers, they are pretty code savvy as well, because they're doing websites and whatnot, which involves code. But they usually, how it works is if you've got a product designer or a UI UX designer, and they're the ones that are operating in like an Adobe or a Figma, and they're doing the designs. Yeah. And then that then gets translated to the engineer. And so he's essentially replicating that same design pixel by pixel in his code. So you have, on the code base, you have the front end, which is the replication of the design, and then you have the back end. So, in our example, our back end, is doing all the fetching for fuel data. It's storing all the trips, it's bringing up your vehicle servicing information. That's a database that is our back end. So that then feeds into the front end.
If you wanted to get an app off the ground, like you said, MVP, and you had a low budget, what's the minimum sort of amount of money you need to get together to get an app? Say you've designed it out, and to get it built with engineers, what's the minimum you're going to need to get it off the ground?
I would say around, I mean, again, it's changing so much, right? But if you had to ask me that question probably a year ago, I would have said maybe $10,000 to get something that's actually working. You can maybe put into the App Store. But if you're doing it through a low code platform, like way less than that, even maybe a couple of grand if you work with, a single developer overseas, and, he can sort of whip something up in a low code platform for you.
Yeah. So less than 10 grand.
Yeah.
Well, that's not a lot of money considering like what you're actually doing. If you think about it, like 10 grand is achievable. So
I'm sure someone's probably listening to me right now going, 10 grand, like you could do it for $500. I'm
Yeah.
sure you probably can.
And some people are saying, oh, you probably can't get anything done that's any good for less than 50.
Exactly. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So like
Yeah.
it's really how, how detailed do you want to build it, how good it's going to be, how
Yeah.
functional, how many bugs it's going to have. I mean,
You're going to run into trouble if you build something,
Yeah.
you release it,
Yeah.
and it goes gangbusters. And, we've heard stories about this where, people launch these products and overnight they're huge successes, and they end up with this massive database fee because they've had so much traffic hitting their back-end database, and, you'll build for that traffic, that compute time.
Yeah.
And so you've, wind up with a $70,000 database bill from AWS or Vercel or someone like those guys. So, yeah.
well, speaking of like challenges, tell me about CarSavvy specifically. What sort of challenges have you come up against?
In what regard?
Just in like getting the business off the ground, building it, marketing. I mean, what has been a challenge maybe that you guys have had to navigate through, or a problem that you've overcome?
I think the biggest thing we kind of learned was making sure that you're building features that are really solving problems. I think one of the mistakes we kind of made was building a lot of features and then thinking that, okay, we're going to put a subscription behind this because people who are going to want to digitize all their servicing history will pay us a subscription to do that. And sometimes it's not a big enough problem for people to pay for something. And that's kind of where we led into with the tax features and those professional features, is they're a big enough problem that people will pay for that. And then all the other features that we've got, they've actually become our extra over in terms of feature wise compared to, say, our competitors. They're maybe just doing the trip tracking side. Yeah. So we're maybe charging a little bit more or less or the same amount, but for them, they would go, okay, well, I could pay that much and use that product, but I'm only doing this one feature. Right. Or I could use CarSavvy and I'm getting so much more.
Right. So it's been like working out how to position the product pricing wise, what value, the customer is getting, why they should use it, why they should pay for it, and sort of taking it to market, the marketing. So, well, this is a good time for you, Ashlinn, to tell us a bit about like what's involved in marketing an app.
Yeah, look, honestly, when I first came on board as well, I didn't know a whole lot about cars. I love marketing and I love brand and people. So it was a lot of figuring it out as I go, which takes time. It takes time to figure out who your target audience is, how you're going to reach them, how you're speaking to them. So when I first started, I went very broad strategy. It was like anyone who likes cars, that was my target. And it's a huge target. So I was literally going to like different events and just interviewing people, talking to them about their favorite cars, dream cars. Like it was very broad and got lots of views and got lots of traction. But again, it's not really talking to like our direct customer. So I think once we both aligned and like narrowed down who we actually are going for, it then made my strategy a lot clearer as well. It's like, okay, we're going after tradies and rideshare drivers and knowing
This is something a lot of business people get wrong. I've noticed that every time I speak to a marketing person, they say, what is your ideal customer? And every time a business comes up against the marketing person who says that, they have no idea. We think to ourselves, I need as many customers as possible. So I don't go do the work of narrowing down who it is I'm targeting. But I'm seeing this a lot. Like we're even looking at, I can't say the space because of NDA, but we're looking at a firm acquisition in a particular space. They only popped up 2 years ago. They've got 190 clients in the accounting space in this one industry because they've been able to target all their marketing like in that niche. And I feel like this is the thing that business owners don't think about. They think about, oh, I've got a product, I know it provides a solution, but who am I targeting and how am I going to target them? That's really how you get the dollars in the bank.
The more niche you can get, the better. And I think, that was something I initially really struggled with because I was trying to be everything and everything because the app was everything and everything. Niching down is more my focus this year, but it's hard.
It's like grabbing 100 people and building a product that each one of those 100 like absolutely love, and if you can get that 100 people that love it, it'll scale up.
Yeah, no, perfect. All right. So is there anything that you came up against or have come up against in this journey that has made you think we should just give it away, shut it down?
Every day.
Yeah. The challenge. Well, tell us about the challenges.
Yeah, I just think it's just startup is just ebbs and flows of motivation, And I think sometimes it's okay to have, those long kind of down periods, and, you need to kind of recharge the batteries a bit. And it's interesting because, sometimes you have a couple of weeks where you're just like, oh, like this is tough. And then you'll have one meeting, with someone, and you're sort of pitching or you're describing something around CarSavvy, and you just get fired up and you just get that motivation back. So I think the biggest challenge is just those ebbs and flows and staying motivated.
It's big, man. Motivation's huge.
Yeah.
Purpose is huge, right? And I feel like we're in such a prosperous society, and I was saying to a friend recently, it's almost like you can't starve in Australia. I said that on a reel, and I was like, well, how do you motivate people or keep them inspired if it's not driven by necessity? The answer to that is purpose. So, when you have purpose and what you're doing aligned to that purpose, for me in accounting, I have that purpose. It's we want to help small business owners achieve their goals and dreams. So if I ever feel like I'm lacking motivation or I'm struggling, I remember what the purpose is, and it remotivates me to go out and to keep doing the reps,
Yeah.
So, you talk about motivation, and like, I guess it's an important message for business owners to understand. It's like, don't go do an app or a business unless you have a vision, if you're motivated to do it or there's some sort of inspiration behind it.
Yeah. I get sent business ideas, from family or friends, and like, oh, let's do this. And then earlier I would have been like, yeah, let's do it. And then you kind of, over time, you're like, I have no passion to do that.
Yeah.
So you got to have a passion to do something, because that's what underlines and motivates you.
Yeah.
The whole thing.
Well, you got a car app, speaking of passions anyway. Do you have do you have a car passion?
I have a passion for watching my Land Rover leak oil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I get it. Yeah.
No, I'm a car guy. I'm
A boat guy.
And
Anything that moves.
anything with a motor.
Anything with a motor, yeah.
I think, as people have kind of probably worked out, I'm very technical. So where I become the car person is more in the engineering side, and just like, servicing it, pulling it apart. I grew up riding motocross and racing that. And, as a kid, my parents would walk into the garage, and, this dirt bike is literally, the whole thing is in pieces.
You pull it all apart. Yeah.
So I just love working on cars. I love working on engines, boats.
Yeah.
Boats are tough because they're around salt water, so you need to work on them a lot more.
Yeah, for sure. We were out on a fishing trip recently, and we broke down when we were out there. It was an old 2-stroke engine on my uncle's boat, and then
Were we rescued?
We got rescued.
Yeah.
I
got a funny story too.
It's like the walk of shame. You've just been rescued. The boat pulls up. Then you get off, and everyone's looking at you at the docks like, oh, these guys got rescued. They broke down.
Did they give you the donation spiel?
No, they didn't. No.
They saw me and they're like, this.
They saw you coming.
Yeah. He's got a nice paint job on the boat.
Yeah.
No, we took the boat out. It's just, a little half cabin 20-foot thing that's kind of been in, Dad bought it off my nana's neighbor back in 2001, I think. And, we grew up on that thing, wakeboarding, fishing, etc. And then I recently, about maybe 6 years ago, restored it as well and kind of redid the floor, transom, new paint job. But no, we took it out onto Sydney Harbour, and we ran out of fuel.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, and I was the captain. So,
like a basic mistake.
Though I did.
You need a boat app.
Yeah. We've got the domain.
Yeah.
But I got it back to the house, and I actually found a blown fuel pump fuse.
Okay.
So I don't know. Was it the running out of fuel that blew the fuse, or was the fuse blown? And so
chicken or the egg, what came first?
It's a debate.
So you're pulling everything apart, like motors, bikes, and now websites and apps. So this is just like figure out how everything works is probably the driving force behind Lachlan, right?
Yeah. Do you remember the back in? I don't know if they still have them, but the phone recycling deposit things in phone shops.
Yeah.
As a kid in primary school, I used to go in there and I used to put my hand down the phone recycling, take the broken phones out,
That's called stealing.
Go home, and I would repair the screens on them,
Oh wow,
and then sell them at school.
that's a good side hustle,
Yeah.
man.
So that was kind of
Repairing phones, selling them.
yeah.
Yeah,
So the business hustle, and then the technical sort of learning
Yeah.
the phone stuff and pulling them apart. So that's
very very good. Well, a side hustle for us in high school was being the first guy in school, because I'm showing my age now, to get a CD burner.
oh yeah.
And then burning CDs and selling them at school. That
Nice.
was the OG.
That's also called theft, I think.
100%. Yeah. All side hustles have a bit of theft there. You got if you think
That's
about it.
Hey, we're risk takers at the end of the day.
All right. So we've talked about the challenges and motivation. I want to ask you, well, I'll ask you first, Ashlyn, actually. What practical advice would you give someone sitting on a solid idea, but they're stuck on the starting line?
Find a good team of people that you can bounce ideas off and just get started. Do something, do anything, put it out there. The only way you're going to learn is by actually getting it out there and testing it with people.
Yeah.
Test it and have a good team that's going to bounce ideas off.
Yeah. People are scared to fail, aren't they?
So scared to fail. I think because everything's so online, everything's so visible now as well. No one wants to be embarrassed or ashamed, and it's like I'm kind of
Yeah.
seeing a big pivot towards everyone leaning into the cringe, though. Like, you know,
Yeah. Do the
get
cringe.
comfortable with being embarrassed. Like, you're only going to learn and get better. So test it
Yeah.
out.
Go for it. Test it out. Good
Absolutely.
advice. What advice would you have, Lachlan?
Just sit on it for a bit.
Refine it, right? Refine the idea, work on it.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes
Yeah.
Opposite.
sometimes you can kind of sit on something for a little bit and come back to it, and you could either come back and go, "This is a freaking great idea,"
Yeah.
or go, "Actually, you know, XYZ, it's not
Yeah.
really gonna work out maybe so much." So yeah,
Sit
I
on
just
it.
sit on it for a little bit.
Yeah, so don't blast yet. You know what? There's truths of both sides of that coin. I like the just pull the trigger side of it, because you can then close the loop in your head first, or if it's a shit idea. So how are you going to know if what your great fancy idea is good? Because I know some people who've had this mad idea for 10 years. And I'm just thinking to myself, if they just tried it 9 years ago, I wouldn't have to hear about it anymore, and they would have worked out how shit it was back then. Do you know what I mean? So there's a benefit to doing things and failing. It's that you learn a lesson. And what's important is the lesson and the skills you pick up in going through that process.
Yeah.
That being said, there's no harm in like sleeping on something, right? Like have a sleep on it, think about it, and like just make sure you want to invest time, energy, effort, because it is hard.
Yeah.
And you know, business is hard. We wouldn't have a business ourselves as business advisors and whatnot if we weren't dealing with the fact that it's really, really hard to run a business, no matter what it is. So I 100% commend people who jump into business and give it a go.
Yeah.
And we want to try support small business owners every step of the way while they're facing and navigating those challenges.
I think as well as if you do decide to do it, there's two ways you can go about it, right? Where you have the operators that keep it, you know, very stealth. They don't tell anyone about it, you know, and they kind of like, I got a mate like this, and he's great, and you know, he'll tell no one, and then he'll just go and do it, and then he's not a boaster or anything like that. That's one method. The other method is, for me personally, not that I'm a boaster, but I try and tell lots of people. One, to bounce the ideas, but also that way I actually then feel the pressure to do it, because then I can't face the sheer embarrassment of then pulling out of it.
Yeah.
Just because I've told a few
You
people
told
about
people
it.
now, your reputation's on the line.
Yeah. So it goes into that motivation.
That's a good method, right? Well, I think the pinging off people thing is good, because we sometimes overestimate our own like capability level or competence, and we think that, it's a great idea in my head, but in reality it may not be good, or there may be things we're missing, or we could learn things from people who've been down that path before. One of the things you said that I actually really liked is that you said you had a group of mentors that sort of you went to, those 5 or 6 people, because you know you realize that there's a pool of knowledge available. You can tap into that. And one of the stupidest things about humans is that we're biological, and we eventually die, and all the knowledge that we have stored up in our brain and experience goes to waste. And it's one of the most frustrating things I'm dealing with now, because I've got grey hair and getting older, right? And I'm thinking about, I've learned so many lessons. I wish there was a way I could just download those lessons and give them to my staff on like a USB, or to my kids or whatever. But like, we lose so much of that IP or
Little startup
skill.
idea.
Yeah,
For
that's
you,
a
mate.
good idea.
Yeah, startup idea. Yeah, exactly.
Just sit on
Yeah.
it, yeah.
Yeah, but the best we I'll just sit on it. The best we can do is ping off people, ask them, get opinions. I mean, it's a very slow, monotonous way of getting feedback, but it's good that you did that.
Yeah.
All right. So our previous guest, Katerina, who's also a client director of our South Australian firm, said, "What does success look like for you right now?"
I think stabilizing momentum. Yep. I think for us, it's having the app in a place, which it basically is now, where everything's stable. The features that people are paying for are in there, and that momentum that we're building, sort of maybe stabilizing is the wrong word, but basically the ebbs go away, and we can just scale that up. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, stabilize the ship.
Yeah. Not again, stabilize maybe not the right word,
Yeah.
but essentially, yeah.
Consolidate,
Yeah.
push forward.
Yeah.
And I'll ask you the same question, Ashlyn. What does let me ask you again. What does success look like for you right now?
I think for me, it's going even more niche. I feel like I know what works and doesn't work now, so it's acting on the what works part and really leaning into that and going a bit harder, because I think I'm someone who can be very like, there's things everywhere at all times, and it's like, okay, no, you know what to do. You just need to put your head down and keep going forward.
Yeah.
So
That's good. Very
hustle. Just
hustle.
hustle.
Just work. Just work.
Put in the
Less
hard work.
talk, more work.
Yeah, less of this. More head down time.
Less of this, more head down. Yeah. All right. Well, that was a question our last guest left. I'll ask you, Ashlyn. What's a question you want us to ask our next guest?
Ooh. When do you know when to call it quits
Yeah.
in your business?
All right, that's a good question.
tough
All
one,
right, that's a tough
Dark
one.
one.
That's we're gonna end that podcast on a real low.
Yeah, that's a rough question.
It's rough, but I feel like
That's a good
something to be
question.
said for that as well.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Guys, tell us where people can find CarSavvy app.
App Store, Android or iOS. You can just punch in CarSavvy, one word, and you'll see it's there. Nice blue icon with an S. Download it, and it's super easy. Just punch your vehicle registration plate in. We look up all your car details. We pull it into the app for you, and then your savvy journey starts
There. Guys, if you're listening, make sure you keep a logbook. And if you're doing it with pen and paper, chuck it in the bin and download the CarSavvy app and do it the smart way. Guys, thanks very much for coming on.
Thank you.
Thank
And
you.
looking forward to seeing where CarSavvy can go.